Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a POV driving review of the new 2024 CX90 plug-in hybrid. We just took delivery of this here a few days ago. If you haven't seen that video, check the link in the description. But we're going to head out here and give you a review. Alright guys, before we get going here, I'm going to show you the EV settings in here, because that's kind of what I'm interested in the most, is the EV options in the plug-in hybrid. Plan on using this mainly for daily use in EV only mode. So the couple options in the EV settings that I went to, we'll go right here, and then down here to regenerative braking was the first one. I'm coming from the Tesla world, and you can't turn regen braking off, and it's super intrusive. So I thought, well, let's try high, because the only setting in here you have is normal or high. And I'll let you know that high is you'd barely notice it if you're coming from like a Tesla. You will barely notice the regen braking. If you've never experienced the regen braking effect, high might be a little too much for you, but this is going to be the setting that gets you the best range in EV mode, especially if you do a lot of stop and go driving, or if you're in a town that has quite a few hills. So we'll leave that on high. And then the other setting I checked was this EV priority mode. Put a check in that, because that setting will make it so every time you hit the power button that it starts up in EV mode and doesn't try to use the gas motor. So a couple other settings in there. You can change the charge limit. If you do a lot of reviewing about batteries and whatnot, they'll say that you shouldn't charge to 100%, but I am going to, because the 25-mile range is low enough as it is. So we'll leave it at 100%, and that should be it for EV settings. Just wanted to show you guys that quick, and then we'll take off here for a drive. Alright guys, so this is the POV of the CX90 plug-in hybrid. So far I'm pretty impressed with the build quality. The fit and finish of all the materials are very good. Definitely a step above the Tesla when it comes to build quality and materials. But there are a few things we need to discuss. I've been driving this for the last week in EV only mode, and it does pretty well in EV only mode, but there have been a few quirks where, for unknown reasons, it likes to turn itself back into gas mode without warning. You'll just be coming to a stop or coasting, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's happened maybe 3 or 4 times to us now, and it sounds like some other people have been having that same issue as well. As far as EV claimed range, the 25 miles is about spot on. I've been getting 23 to 24 miles, not quite all the way to 0, so I'll start charging them again before I get all the way to the bottom, but I've been able to get 24 miles out of the battery. So that estimate from the factory is pretty spot on. As you can see, I don't know if you can see the dash down there right now, but we've been getting 1.7 miles per kilowatt hour. That's the best I've seen it so far. It is a big car with a fairly small electric motor, 200 horsepower, compared to like the Tesla that's all electric that I had. That Model Y was 400 horsepower and close to 500 foot-pounds of torque. And with that, it is very quick. And I'd average about 3 miles or so per kilowatt hour in the Tesla. So this is definitely not as efficient as a Tesla, but it's not its main propulsion system. Gas, I would say, is its main, or maybe 50-50 if you want to look at it that way, since it does have about a 200 horsepower gas motor and 200 horsepower electric. The bad thing about it was the ratings for the gas and the electric, actually, if you combine them, should be higher than the ratings that they're giving us. And I've heard that might be due to the new wet clutch transmission setup. It doesn't have the torque converter anymore, and that's one thing that I have noticed is the transmission. for lack of a better term, is a little clunky or not smooth. It feels a little jerky compared to other vehicles, especially coming from a Tesla that doesn't have a transmission and it's just super smooth. It just takes a little bit getting used to that transmission again, which I guess is normal for these hybrids, is for the transmission to be in use in the electric mode, because they sandwich that electric motor between the engine and the transmission. So power and electric only mode, it's livable. It's definitely not quick, but it can get up and go. But when I'm in EV mode, I'm not trying to push it. I'm more interested in just getting around town and getting the best range that I can. So if you really want to get into it, performance driving, that's what the sport mode's for, I suppose. Alright guys, we'll get out here on the back roads. Give you a little taste of driving in EV mode on the highway here. As you can see down there, we have about 9 miles left of EV only range. You can see down there when we let off, right down here we get the regen charging. So guys, my first impressions of the interior and the infotainment and that sort of thing. I did not realize when I was picking up this premium model, I should have done some more research, that to get the touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you actually have to opt for the Premium Plus trim. It has to be the 12.3-inch screen. So I did not get the option to have that, and I'm very disappointed. Using this joystick is not good, especially when you're in a world, today's world, where everything's touchscreen. Even though you can get used to using that joystick, I'm just not feeling it. So just keep that in mind. Premium Plus at least, if you're going with the plug-in hybrid, if you want that. The other options that did not come with the premium that I'm kind of missing out on are the heated steering wheel. Doesn't have a heated steering wheel, and then it also does not come with the folding mirrors. The mirrors do not have a button to auto fold, to stick your hand out the window old school and fold them in manually. And I don't know if this is just because I don't have the power folding mirrors, but when you use the seat memory function, it does not adjust the mirrors. That could just be a Mazda thing, or maybe you need that Premium Plus trim for that option. All of my previous Ford vehicles, like my Explorer, it had that built in. If you save the driver settings, it would adjust the mirrors. The Tesla does that too. So I was kind of disappointed about that. But overall, the interior, the fit, the finish, the materials are awesome. Very, very good materials, very well put together. And I would say, compared to my Tesla, one of the best things about this is the ride quality. Some of the reviews say it's a little stiff, but coming from a 2022 Tesla Model Y, the suspension feels very nice compared to that. Soaks up the bumps very nicely. And the handling on this, although it is a big 3-row crossover, it does handle pretty well still. I feel that the Tesla might handle just a little bit better because there's so much weight underneath the floor. There's all the battery weights under the floor on the Tesla, so it's got a lot lower center of gravity. But still, this thing handles pretty well on these back roads, on these twisties. The road noise in the cabin is very minimal as well, especially in EV mode. That could be a problem sometimes. You know, you're hearing a lot more of the outside noise because there's no engine noise in EV mode, but not a lot of rattles. Feels very solid, and quiet in here going down the road at 60 miles an hour. And this road that we're currently on is not a smooth road. It is very bumpy, and it doesn't feel that bad. I take my sports cars on these back roads, and you feel every bump in those cars, but in this, it's not bad. We're about out of EV range here. We're down to 3 miles of range. I'm going to go ahead and flip it into sport mode now. Sport mode activated. Well, let's see what it's really got. Much more power. If you love gas cars and just can't bite the bullet on an EV, I think this is definitely the way to go. You still have all that gas power, the noise of the internal combustion engine, and then you can just flip it to EV mode when you're doing your city driving and be quiet as can be. The best of both worlds. Put it into a corner here, see how she handles. Oh yeah. Zoom zoom, Mazda. Yeah. What a fun SUV. It even sounds pretty throaty when you get on it. It'll go fast. So yes, so far the plug-in hybrid ownership is going well. We will definitely get in a long-term review, a couple of other videos along the way. Right now I'm going to leave you guys with some 0 to 60 runs in EV only mode, and then also in the sport mode. Alright guys, here is our first run in sport mode, 0 to 60. Here is our 0 to 60 in EV mode. It's slow. Come on, you can do it. That was so slow. Zero to 60. 15 seconds. That's pretty bad. Alright guys, so we depleted our EV range. I only had about 13 miles of range when we started. We used that all up, so we're now in normal mode. But we'll definitely be making a few more videos, guys. If you have any questions about the plug-in hybrid that I can answer for you, leave a comment down below. We'll get them answered for you, maybe even make a video about it. But thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a good one.